stretched and fought through victory and pain. By test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong, feel our hearts beat.
Welcome brothers, welcome sisters, welcome back to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up the telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socio-economic issues, any topical issue trending, or you too can introduce your own subject matter. It's very important for us in Grenada, because sometimes we seem not to recognize the good things we have. We have an electoral system in Grenada that we could be justly proud of. And when you say that, you must add some reasons. You must give justification. From 1984, we have had our election after giving a second chance. And at no time, the side that loses election challenge the result. At no time. An election comes about, and within 24 hours, the side that loses election concede defeat. And it tells you generally they agrees with the system in place. I don't think you could get a better system than that in the Caribbean. Perhaps we in Grenada, sometimes some people can't blow the trumpet. So the electoral process can't blow the trumpet. But we in Grenada, from both political parties, must say that, because it adds credibility to what is going on that is good. We have a lot good going for us in Grenada, and one of them is the electoral process. The next one is the infrastructure, the system we have in place for the media and our voice, freedom of expression. You have a number of radio stations. Maybe about 30 of them have license. Not all is active, they go and come. But it gives you an opportunity to express yourself. And we have social media galore. Sometimes I think people go overboard. But we must be tolerant, because some people don't have freedom of expression. You have a war going on now between Russia and Ukraine. And Russia don't have freedom of expression. The media is strictly controlled by the government that be. A number of other media entities are blocked off, like China, Cuba, number of other countries. But in Grenada, we have freedom galore. And that is important. It's very important. And you could give me a call. The number to call is 442-0175. I'm always concerned and bothered and ask the question, at what age we should start discussion about business and investment with our children? At what age? You have your children at your home. At what age you should start to discuss business and investment with them? I ask that because it's a fact that we in Grenada, and a lot of the other Caribbean countries too, we save a lot. But we seem to have a natural affront to invest in. Why that should be so? Well, the credit unions, the bank, and everybody else encourage you to save. They encourage you to save. They don't say save and invest, They say save. So you have a little baby in the house and the baby is about to be baptized and people give them a little money, maybe a $300, $400, $500. And the parents say, let's save it for him. And they put it in the bank. But the bank charges you for keeping your money in the bank. The bank charges you for keeping your money in the bank. So by the time that baby ready to turn youth and ready to withdraw that money, you might see a notice in the newspaper, abandon account. And more often than not, when you see it in the newspaper, abandon account, you have less than $1 there. No matter how much accounts you see that abandoned, I'm willing to bet you that you have less than $1 in the abandoned account. Anybody who have had the opportunity to have an abandoned account would know that. So that $500 you had placed in the bank disappear because the bank charges you for keeping your money in the bank. They charge you more than the more interest they give you. And today's society, because the bank have a lot of money in the bank, a lot of liquidity, they're not giving you much interest. The interest they're giving you is much less than what they're charging you. So if you have a small bit of money in the bank, a couple $1,000, and you leave it there for a long time, that money might disappear. Perhaps it'd have been better if you bought a sheep for that baby and let the father see after it. You might get something to do. That might even cause the relationship to last. Because the sheep might have multiplied. You get income from it. So I ask the question, at what age we should start discussing investment and business with our children? You see, these things are important because Grenada is more fortunate than a lot of countries in the Caribbean. Why I say that? Grenada have more land owners than other countries in the Caribbean. And because we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Well, I run into open bat, I like to open bat.
Yeah, and that's important, You go down number one and you get a good pitch. So make runs.
I feel good this morning when I got response from that call that was made by me from Toronto this morning. Someone called and recognized my voice on target, and they called back and they say they always listening that program, and they asked me please to go and speak to their relatives in Grenada. That was, and they would like to know the host. They said they like how that host is handling that program. They called me whole morning and I was not with the phone, and they sent my brother to let me know that. So I realized that program going, I know it's worldwide, but still I realize people paying attention to it. So that is very, very important. I feel good about it. I feel good. Secondly, I want to say we in St. Patrick West are very fortunate. Anthony Boson feels that is enough for him after 25 years, and he decided to take a low profile this trip by not offering himself for public office around this time. He said he had enough. And he gave us a man which we are happy with, because this young man understands struggle. He understands poor people cry. He knows how it is to be on the block and speak with it. So I believe it was a well-fitted decision. And I want to thank the Prime Minister for accepting our nomination to have Brother Victor Bello Philip to replace, because I recognize that he will continue the good works of Anthony Boson, plus he will also have his own plans and agenda because he is a Sotes man. So I think that pair we have we cannot be complacent, but that pair in St. Patrick is a very good pair, a lady and a man to represent this place. So I am saying to the people, you don't have to worry your head. You have two good persons, Pamela Moses in the east, Victor Bello Philip in the west, and I see these two people going to do a good thing for the people of this parish. Because right now people have been telling me the sitting happening in St. Patrick is what they never thought would have happened in 100 years. The people of Colorado say, we never thought we'd have such a pleasant gap to go in our house driveway. They never thought they would have lived to ever see that. And under Pamela administration, under she representation, they receive it. They never thought they would have seen a hotel, a community center like a hotel in Riverside. They never thought they would have seen a university in Montrose, passing over $7 million. So a lot of things happen. So people, we are not spoiling a good thing. We are very, very fortunate in this country, and a lot of good things going for us. So I feel good when I get in feedback from your program from Toronto to say they're happy with that program. So, and they told me they will tune on again today, which I very happy. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Once you have politicians who, when a political party is uniting, it's an important factor for development in a country. Now. You find a political party that works together and they have the understanding of the challenges that faces the constituents. It's a very important thing for politicians to understand the challenges that faces the constituents. You know, the constituents have confidence in them and they understand the challenge and they dream big. There is enough ideas around. I constantly advocate we could solve our problems. We don't have to go to Britain or America or China or Russia to solve the problems in Grenada. We are capable of solving the problem. We must come together and discuss the issue. Caller, we have a caller on the line.
Hey, good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller.
Mr. Pierre, I'm looking back at NMP and NDC, these two major parties. And I remember when NMP...
We're not hearing you well.
Yeah, so I'm looking at these two major parties, NMP and NDC. When NDC was in governance and NMP was the opposition, you know, NMP party never opposed anything that the government was doing to help better this living condition of people. Because anything that the party NDC did at the time, and NMP still is right, they support it. But when NMP in government, everything that the government did to assist people and to better living condition of people, NDC opposed. Right? And if you say that you love people and you want people life better, and the government is out of office, like you're out of office and government thinking doing something good, you should be glad that the government helping the people, the poor class of people, or other people like to be developed. So why, nothing ask why you opposing? You're opposing because you are opposition, opposing state. And I do believe one of the failure of parties. Right? If a government did something and it's good, you should appreciate it. Right? But when you're opposing the things that the government doing to help people living standards, and you're opposing it. So why say like you don't want good for some people, we want good for a class of people in the country? When a government election a government elected, The government represents everyone. Everyone. He say, well, that person didn't vote for me, and that person vote for me, so only represent. I have to look out for only those who support me and vote for me. You have to, government is inclusive. You have to reach out and help everyone. Because when you look in any country, Mr. Pierre, not everybody that in a country will be working. There's some people at home and the working government have to reach out and help them. And I do believe if a country come together, opposition and government come together, things could be better. Let's take a look at Barbados. I know, I let him go in Barbados, but what if it happening? Both the opposition and the government, don't keep it up. Because what is the main thing of Barbados? Tourism. And when the opposition go criticize and say, I cannot sit about the country, when you are on the opposition and criticize, and the next election come and you win, everything will change overnight. When you opposition give the world a bad name of your country, when you was in opposition, and when you came in the government, when you come back, when you election come and win, how you think everything will change overnight? So I don't believe people will be very careful what to say about the country. And the thing what I'm saying is, you know what to say is not true. Well, because the opposition is trying to give your country a bad name when you're opposition. So that when you election can win, the bad name will wipe away and a good name will come in. So I don't believe people will be very careful what they say about the country. And if you love a country and live between Pierre, yes, something you might not like it. Yes, you have to talk about it. But every time you go on a radio station, you only have nothing good to say about the country. Only negative things about the country. Right, Mr. Pierre, I want to see today at the road on the main road, that the new construction road that's supposed to be officially open today, that may be postponed to a later date.
Okay.
Right? So when they have that date announced, I will come back and see when that will be officially opening.
All right, thank you.
Have a blessing.
Yeah, you see, we have to recognize that when you have a political party and the country's two main political party, you may not find the opposition readily agreeing with what the government do, because we're so politically polarized. Perhaps you need some of these so-called independent voices in our country to speak about these things, particularly where it involves Grenada, so that independent voices, personality on the radio, journalists, and other individuals who are not directly attached to a political party to speak the truth and reality. You may not find it from the political opposition, but you could find it from other voices in the country. And that's where the challenges are. You know, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yeah, you know, I was listening to this parliament yesterday, and I kind of went. I was listening to Tobias telling Keith Mitchell that in 1989, with the teachers issue, he tell Blaze find the money to pay, and Blaze tell him what goes around comes around, and now it comes around on him. And I was just intrigued by that. I mean, Tobias Clement is something else, but that's not what I talk about. I remember, I just want to follow up on what we talk about in terms of the revolution business. Yes, your analogy is correct. There was, in the market, there was waiting for Morris to come down there. That's right, you're correct. When after the freedom, he went down there. But afterwards he left and he went up to the port. Because I saw when there was passing. You are correct. But you see, my position is this. When you leave and go to the port, the port is the Revolutionary Army headquarters. There where the arm and ammunition are. So when you go to that there, and then when he reached up there, he started giving out to the best of my knowledge, I could be wrong. He started giving out.
It's a bit low.
Now that is a dangerous thing because you know that's the headquarters and that's where the real ammunitions are. So when he started giving out the things, then they claiming, because I saw when the armored car passed on, the other side is claiming, because remember there was a break-up, both of them, the other side is claiming that they send the armored vehicle to reclaim the fort, because they are claiming, so I heard when the shots started, but I don't know, I can't say it's the armored car or the other people, but I want to believe the shots started for from the fort. Because where we was in a strategic position. So, as the other side is claiming that they came to reclaim the fort because he started it. The question is, why did he, because we can't answer that, why did he leave the market square, which there was no ammunition, to go up there in a place where full of ammunition? So probably you could say that he was provoking, but the bottom line is this, you have the bottom line is that there had to be no violence. It was wrong to go up there. The question arises, what we were talking about, the main thing. Is any country authorized, or you can't come in somebody's country and sovereign and invade it. You understand? Because it is wrong and it's illegal, right? Something that's legal, because according to you, what you were saying, which is correct, if they say Paul School calling people, but Reagan didn't say calling people. Reagan said come to save medical students. So we didn't go into that, right? You come in somebody's country, you can't do that because it's illegal. Even though Paul School, like you say, calling and he was the legal head. Something that is legal, that it doesn't mean right. Slavery was legal, but it was not right. So it's apartheid. But the main thing is that I'm saying personally at that point in time, you leave a country to solve the problems. You don't have to come in, because at that point, we still had a government in office, whether you call it RMC, BRC, because it was two sides and the other side was ruling. So leave us, in my position, to solve our problems, and don't come in and invade our country and cause soldiers to death and bomb up the mental home and all the different places. The fact is that people died, and it was a war. It was an act of aggression. We could have solved our problems. Don't come in, and so this is why other people call it a rescue mission. Fine, I have no problem with that, because we have to respect each body's position. But I call it an intervention where people was killed, and I compliment those soldiers who defended Grenada. Although they know they was fighting against a superpower, and Bishop used to say, come, you go bury them in the sea, all this kind of nonsense. There was no way we, in Grenada or no part of the Caribbean, could fight with a superpower. But I still compliment them on being brave. They're fighting for their homeland. So you don't invade my country. Don't invade my country, and it's an act of aggression, and I condemn it strong-heartedly. I hear what other people say, but I'm still of the opinion, and I was no fan of Bishop. Because Bishop said, if I go to talk about Bishop, let's have all 2 days. I was no fan of Bishop and the revolution, but leave us to see if we could solve our problems. We don't need nobody to come and start to bomb down and kill them in places. So I condemn it, and Bishop had no right. Maybe that was bad judgment, or he was overwhelmed by the crowd of school children, or whatever, I don't know. But he was in the market, just like what you were saying, and then didn't even go up to the port. So when you go up to the port, what do you think happens? That is where all the ammunition and start giving out. So the people claim that they have to recapture the port, because remember it was a war between both sides. So probably he started it, because I know definitely where I was strategically, there was a thing coming from the port. So he was wrong. But that is the past, and I condemn the invention, and I stand by all my comments, what I say, but I respect other people's position. If they want to see differently, it's no problem. Thank you. Have a great day.
Yes, my caller, thank you. You know, out of that, I has always been concerned about the fallout of these things, because you had a lot of young men that was misguided, we might say, but after the revolution collapsed, they went in society without any help, any assistance. Some of them lost their financial pay. Those who were in a better position went to the United States of America and England and Canada. Those hardline communists went to capitalist country. They never went to Cuba or Russia or anybody. They went to the United States. And it's almost a paradox that the very country they was cussing and complaining about, that is the country they went to. But we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. Right, we lost that caller. So we had the ordinary soldiers, foot soldiers, that went home without a job. And perhaps to the contempt, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yes.
Yes,
good afternoon.
Good day, sir.
Since yesterday, I've been listening to this last caller you had.
Yeah.
She's trying to contradict herself in what she's saying. We need to say things and stand by what it means. We had a situation in Grenada in the 80s. I believe the worst tragedy in Grenada was October 19th, 1983. You know, I was no fan of Bishop, but if you can turn the guns on your same comrade, what will you do to me? And I see the rescue mission, and I will say it all the time. It was a rescue mission. There was chaos in Grenada, and the Governor General was still the head of Grenada. He invited the OECS forces, the Caribbean forces, and the Americans to come. This is what he said. To save Grenada, and I think it was the greatest move made by Sir Paul Schoon at the time, all who participated, including the Americans, because it was chaos in Grenada. When somebody telling me, leave the people to solve their problem. People could only solve their problem if you have democratic rule and you're able to vote. Not when you have guns pointing on the barrel of the gun pointing down at you. You can't solve your problem. The guns are more powerful. You tell them to leave Ukraine alone to solve the problem. They can't solve the problem alone. They need help. You know, and so similar with Grenada, Grenada needed help. It was chaos in the country. So when this lady talking and nonsense, in my opinion, of our opinion, you know, that leave people to solve their problems, many people cannot even solve the individual problems.
But after the activities on the 19th, what was taking place? There was arresting people by droves, you know.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of people, even PRAs, who decide they're not taking part, they were arrested.
Yeah.
Thousands of people were locked up, threatened, and you telling me?
Shot on sight.
Leave us to solve our problem. I think she was old enough to know what was happening. I remember it was a 4-day curfew, shot on sight. You tell me the people could solve that problem? We couldn't solve that problem. We needed help. And I think we got the right help. And up to today, I will say it aloud, Ronald Reagan was the best American president. He came. In the process, some people will die. Americans die, Cubans die, Grenadians die. But the country was liberated. So, you know, sometimes I wonder when people open their mouth and talk. They're not consistent and they don't understand. Because people need help. Country needs help. As long as you're not putting your dominance over me, help me to get out of it. Thank you, sir.
Yes, my brother, I have to agree. I supported the intervention or rescue mission or invasion. Anyhow you call it, I supported it quite a lot. I do not believe at that time we were able to help ourselves. I honestly believe that even the revolutionaries, the majority of them wanted help because they was confused. They end up with a situation that they did not know what to do. After October 19, several people in villages was arrested. A number of teachers who led protests or they thought-led protests were arrested. You ever call on the line? Caller, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, my brother.
I wanted to call before the last caller because this is my same sentiment. I think the lady that called there, she likes to do that. She tried to disturb the program, I might say.
No. In all fairness to her, we like any topic.
Yeah, however.
So she bring it back in.
However, the topic, yes. But if you notice that she keep repeating one thing over and over and over again. She's supposed to be an intelligent person. She said she used to work in a bank. Okay, fine. I mean, in the bank is not, okay. But the fact is that we look at her and we think that she's intelligent.
But
she keep repeating one thing over and over. Nonsense.
Yeah.
Say something that makes sense. Change your topic, madam. Thank you.
All right, okay. We have to have a lot of tolerance for different views. We don't have to agree with people, but we have to have a lot of tolerance for different views. And there's a lot of issues that are not fully discussed in Grenada. And one of them is the revolution. That are October 19 events. These things have not been fully discussed. And as a result, that some people have strong position on it. And I encourage people to discuss those issues. Yeah, obviously on this program we don't have much time, but it's a good thing for people to discuss those issues. Around that time was the worst crimes that was committed in Grenada. And I normally like to say after slavery and colonialism. And it has traumatic effect. Even the PRAs, the soldiers, the ordinary soldiers, they couldn't run to any country. So they remain in Grenada. Some of them pine away. Some of them turn vagrant. Some of them had mental challenges. Some of them never had no income. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
You see the same thing I was telling you earlier, Mr. Pierre, about people disrespecting people intelligent. Let's leave that there. During the revolution, I never see. There is a thing with Grenadians call Maurice Bishop a prime minister. But based on my knowledge, Maurice Bishop was never a prime minister. Because
he was the leader of Grenada.
Okay.
And although he didn't come through the ballot, but he was recognized as the prime minister of Grenada.
But you can't recognize that somebody who didn't come through the ballot as the prime minister based on the Westminster system.
Yes, but you have the laws of necessity that take place. If after a while nobody challenged that,
well,
he's
to
the prime minister.
The revolution, I was young during the revolution, very young. But I always seek knowledge during the revolution. And to me, Maurice Bishop and his as one person say, it wasn't a revolution, it was a coup d'etat. Because a revolution is completely different. There was a bit of advantageous people, as far as I understand, and they couldn't wait for power. Because Mr. Pierre, when I listened to the elder folks before, Eric Matthew Gary was very popular. Even when he came back, there was a saying when he came back after the revolution and he run for the election, he won the election. So there was no way I believe that Maurice Bishop could have beat Eric Gary in the ballot. So I never recognized the revolution. Although they did some very good things, but I never really recognized them. Thank you.
Yes, my brother. The revolution had good ideas. They had good ideas. And Maurice Bishop was a good orator. Sometimes we forget that. He was a good orator. Grenadians love him. I've never heard anybody say they hate Maurice Bishop. People might hate Eric Gary. You see the evidence that people have hate for Eric Gary. You see the evidence that people have hate for Keith Mitchell. But even people at Maurice Bishop jail, you don't get the evidence in Grenada that they hate him. So Maurice Bishop was a good orator. He had a lot of good ideas. And people generally like him. And he used the revolution as an excuse. Well, you have to go to jail because it's a revolution. But he was not able to beat Gary in the polls. He was not able to get Gary in the polls. And even after 1983, when the revolution collapsed, they recognized that if they just let all the parties run separate, the Americans and them recognized that Gary would win the election. And that's one of the reasons that the Americans and the Compton and Eugenia and them, Siaga, helped to put a political party together so that they could contest the election against Gary. Gary party won one seat then. But these things, what has happened is we have not had much discussion on these issues. And when people will take position totally different from yours, and we have to be tolerant to different views and different positions. You know, it's rich history. We mustn't walk away from it. We must discuss it. But you're going to find people coming up with a whole different position. People say it's a glorious revolution. And some of us don't agree with that. Over 3,000 Grenadians went to prison. A similar number had to hitchhike it out of the country, run to avoid they themselves entering prison. And some of the crimes that we have had, we have not seen them since slavery and colonialism. So I always ask, did the ends justify the means? And obviously, the answer got to be no. But you can give us a call. The number to call is 442-0175. 442-0175. And I ask the question again. At what age we must start discussing business with our children? Business and investment. We hear the word saving from day one. You must save, you must save. And maybe it has its positive effects on us because Grenadians do save. We save. Everybody save. People say, I have 2 bank book. They're feeling good. They save their money. Through the credit unions. Through the banks. Maybe in the pillow. You know, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
I understand the part you're playing. You're playing a diplomatic part, but listen to me. When people call in every day and tell you one stupidness, you must tell them change the topic. Okay? Because I know a lot of people that was in the revolution that had business, not business, but their own property, and they were telling, go home, America, and go home, and they sell it for nothing. They didn't go anywhere else, you know, they go to America. And right now them is what do you call it? They naturalized in America. They come in here on vacation now. And when they're ready, they say they're going back home. So you don't let people tell you, but they are. I didn't agree with the revolution, but who want to agree with it is the business. But you must let them know when they're talking stupidness, they're talking stupidness. Thank you, sir.
Yes, my brother, thank you. The number to call is 442-0175, and we speak about any subject matter. We have a situation going on today in Ukraine, where Russia invaded an independent sovereign country. Russia is a world power. There are a number of other countries, including United States of America and NATO, who are helping Ukraine fight Russia. There's a lot of lessons we in Grenada could learn from it. When these things going on, there are lessons for us to learn. First of all, we can, whether we support Russia, we support Ukraine, the best thing for us is to be tactful and diplomatic on that issue. But there are lessons to learn because 30% of the agriculture in the world comes from these two countries. Agriculture vis-a-vis grain, wheat. And so it affects us here. Any war in Europe would affect us because we consume a significant quantity from these countries. So any war would affect us. So you would see a lot of shortages on the shelf. And when there is shortages, your price will go up, demand and supply. In addition to that, you could sit down here and see the technology involved in this war. This war is a lot of technology involved. And you could say that countries is putting so much emphasis on technology that even to go in the army, you might have to be well educated. In the future army Perhaps you're behind a desk managing drones and other gadgets. And it makes the point that we in Grenada here, a small country, should put more emphasis on education. We should make certain that our children is well educated, that they're multi-skilled, multi-talented, and well endowed with the characteristic that gives them the competitive edge in the marketplace. We have to understand that, this thing must be ingrained in us. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Good afternoon and welcome.
How are you?
Great, man.
Right. I want to thank those nurses, today's nurses. Well, for the whole week is Nurses Day. Right. Because really and truly we have to go out and look out and pray for those nurses, because they're doing a wonderful, wonderful work. When you come with a cut, they dress it for you. Especially if you go in hospital, oh my God, they are attending to you. They don't sleep days, and we have to ask sorries for them, and we have to big them up today. The whole week is Nurses Week. So I'm asking for prayers. Let me pray for those nurses, please. Thank you. And my brother, I love your program, and just keep up your program. And you have a blessed day.
Thank you very much. Thank
Bye-bye.
you very much.
Right.
Yeah, that this one is very important. I really highly appreciate that call, reminding me that is Nurses Day. We have to appreciate our brothers and sisters in the society. Nurses, the role that they play. And we want our nurses stay in Grenada. We don't want them going to England and work. We want our nurses stay in Grenada. Sometimes they are attracted by the income, by the salary. But you're surprised to know nurses in Grenada and nurses in England is in the same salary scale. It's quite true that one money, when spent in Grenada, is more powerful. But when in England, it might be the same thing. But we have to appreciate our nurses. There are a lot of things we could do in the community to have respect, to have respect for one another. These days, we seem to be disrespecting everybody. A gentleman wouldn't pass a nurse on the road and don't give them a ride. And the neighbors perhaps bring some mango for them. Simple things. And to have respect for them. Because they too do a very important job, a very important work in our community. During the medical, they are very critical in primary health care program, vaccination, visiting the sick in the community. You notice them in the villages going out and visit the sick people, attending to the sick people in the community, taking their pressure and etc. Some of these people, it is a challenge to come to the medical station. So if their problem is not critical, the nurses go to them once a week. And that is very important. And the nurses, experienced nurses in the community, they're practically counselors. You can go to them with practically any medical or psychological challenge, and they will give you guidance. Either recommend you to the expert or chat you a bit on it. So, Nurses Day celebration is an important time. It reminds us, it highlighted on us, the need to show appreciation and to have respect for our people. So that call is cherished. These things, sometimes you forget it, and it's so important when an individual who have first-hand experience about the role of the nurses is able to call and to compliment them. I think it's very important. The number to call is 4420175. I think it is an important thing for people in our society. Sometimes we have to look at our culture. We have to examine our culture, not only as a country, but as a family, as a people, as a community. We have to examine our cultures. We have challenges in the society. But when we come together and we hold discussion, we're able to address what the challenges are. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Afternoon, Mr.
Yes,
Pierre.
my brother. Welcome.
What I want to say to you, do you think that there are certain people that call in your station, you think they really want the next the present government to come back in power? They don't.
It doesn't matter which government you. It doesn't matter. What we do, we encourage callers. We want to provoke discussion. There is a lot of discussion in Grenada that transcend political parties.
Yeah.
And we want those discussions. For instance, speaking about investment, at what age you should discuss investment with children has nothing to do with party politics.
I agree.
Or speaking about somebody should have a child well educated has nothing to do with party politics. So we encourage all callers, irrespective of their political. We encourage everybody, irrespective of your political position. Right? Yes, caller? We lost this caller. Yeah. Our program is open to any Grenadians. We open it to government ministers, opposition people. You give a call, you punch. You know, you express your opinion. Remember, opinions are opinions. It doesn't necessarily mean it's facts. What we hope to do is to provoke discussion. So people may get a topic and want to research it. You have this issue going on in Ukraine. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
And good afternoon to your listening audience, Mr. Pierre.
Great.
Mr. Pierre, I heard you always mentioning about the revolution, Mr. Pierre. The revolution was 1983, Mr. Pierre. And Mr. Pierre, what I would like to see on the revolution, Mr. Pierre, there is a lecturer or doctor at the St. George's, not St. George's, but the UE campus. Marisha Place there, she heading that facility there. And she is trying to get the Ministry of Education, Mr. Pierre, to change the curriculum, whereby they introduce the revolution into the school curriculum, Mr. Pierre. You don't think that's going to be a good move, Mr. Pierre? You don't think the Ministry of Education should move quickly on such a process? What do you think? Don't you think so?
Well, the question is, what is the material that is placed in our book? You see, in Grenada today, we have people with different agendas. Some people want to glorify the revolution. So remember, when Monkey writes its story, Monkey always writes. So the individuals who want to glorify the revolution, they write positive things about it. There are some people that were victims in the revolution. They spent 3.5, 4 years in jail. There are some people who were castrated. There are some people who had to beg for water to bathe. So if an individual is going to write a book and you want to put it in the school curriculum, that information should widespread to see if you get acceptance, rather than when you put it, people rebel against it and you have to remove it.
Yeah. Her name is Dr. Nicole Dow. And I think it's a good move to get the youth, the young people in this country to know about the revolution, because people lack in information on the revolution.
Yeah, you see, they have the written word, just as the Christianity. There are so many young churches in Christianity because it's over 2,000 years old. Some churches are about 1,500 years, 500 years old. They say sola scriptura. The Bible and the Bible alone.
Yeah.
There are some churches, the older churches, like the Catholics and Anglican, is not sola scriptura.
Yeah.
Is the Bible, the magisterium, and the traditional fathers.
Yeah.
Because you see, the Bible was put together about 300 years after Christ.
Right.
Now the revolution here, you have individuals who come and write about the revolution because they want to glorify socialism.
Okay.
But they would not tell you that 3,000 people were in jail.
Yeah.
You see, that's the challenge. So when you want to put things in a book, maybe 1,000 years from now, you would not have the traditional words alive. So you could get away with it. But if the ministry want to put that in school curriculum, they have to be careful.
It's not a ministry. The individual is trying to get the ministry into putting it. You understand?
Yeah. So they have to tarry slow and make certain that the information there is generally accepted and it is relatively true.
Because you know there are several books on the revolution as well. Godfrey Smith, that liar in Belize, wrote a book. Teddy Victor also had a book. So there is quite a lot of information on the revolution, Mr. Pierre.
But none of them tells you what they did to Montreat and Tivoli.
Yeah.
None of them.
Last thing, I heard you mention about the NMP. Mr. Pierre, the NMP was formed in 1984, August 6th, yeah? And I heard you mention about the individual that formed the NMP.
The Americans, the NNP, the United States of America and the Caribbean, Compton and all of them contributed in getting all the political parties to come together, to unify them.
Right, so they had what they call a mediation, where they went in Union Island.
Yeah.
And the three people that involved in that was John Compton, St. Lucia, Tom Adams, Barbados, and James Mitchell, St. Vincent.
Yeah.
They had to come together to form NMP, and NMP was formed in August of 1984. And all the individuals you see that separated was NMP, you know. From the Kenny Larson, the Tillman, the Ben Jones, Reason Alexis, Walker, all of them was NMP at the time. And they won one, they lost one seat, you're right. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Thank you, my brother.
Yeah.
Yes, you can give us a call. The number to call is 442-0175. And you can raise any issue. You don't have to stick to what we're speaking about. We speak on any subject matter. We provoke discussion on this program. We encourage people to continue the discussion. Continue discussion in your home. At what age you must start to talk about business and investment. It's a challenge in Grenada here. Our people are not investing enough. We're saving a lot, but we must start to develop the investment culture. The banks are encouraging us to save. But while you're saving, they're charging you for keeping your money there. The credit unions are encouraging you to save. But we must have more investment in our country. You see, on one hand, we're doing the savings. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Yes, my brother.
How are you today?
Great, man.
For a while now, I think we are having a concern, and you're hearing it echoing from time to time, and people tend to not take it serious as it relates to our elderly citizens. I don't think I should say just elderly citizens. I think it's across the board realm. Now, it's fixed about noise, the level about noise in our community. And to be honest, I find it really getting out of hand. You know, you have sometimes, you know, you decide to organize a party or a dance or a street jam or whatever, and you have it in the middle of a community where you have churches, the old home for the aged, the medical station, and different things, and most of it elderly citizens living in that community, and there is no regards for these people, no regards whatsoever. I say that to say there is a law supposed to be protecting, protecting us against this loud noise. And somehow I don't know if the police sort of scared to deal with it, because I mean we are really seeing a level of disrespect for police officers. So I don't know if that's one of the reasons why they are afraid to deal with that. But my brother, it's really getting out of hand. Sometimes when you're in a community and music starts, you have to wait until the music turn off after 2 in the morning. And I think that cannot be right. Cannot be right. I believe before the authority issue a license, I think the first thing that they're supposed to do, go and find out where that person won that, where that person having that party before such license should be issued. And if you have to issue that license, I believe there's a certain time that music is supposed to tone down. I'm going to say tone down. And no license should be given to anyone, especially in a community like that, to go up to after 2 in the morning. That can't be right. I really like the authority to do something, for us, please. It really getting overbearing, and most of us senior citizens, they're afraid to speak and grinding in their house in the night, because I'm hearing it all the time. So please, that's my take on it.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you. It's an important subject matter, and I don't envy the police in that. Sometimes we have some challenges in society that we are not dealing with, and we want to give the police. This one is bigger than the police. The noise level, I think is decibels noise is measured by, that we tolerate in our society is much higher than what you might tolerate in countries like Canada or United States of America. The noise level that we tolerate is very high. Even churches make noise. They have their mic. There are 20 people in the church. They have their mic, they make noise. Whether it is Saturday or Sunday. So the noise level that we tolerate is very high. Now we have the musical gadgets. Technology has improved so much that those gadgets are extremely loud. Yes, I know it's a challenge. Some people might have to build soundproof room in their homes. But it is a challenge, or more people would have to complain. There are times when people overdo it. But this thing is so widespread, and the noise level that all of us tolerate, it is extremely high. It is a challenge for us, and it's not something definitely we could call on the police and say the police should do that, And we come to the end of our program today, and we're so happy for all those who participate, those who are on social media, on Facebook, and others. I'll be back with you tomorrow between 12 and 1 for another opportunity to punch.
Triple N.